Hi Shafi. I was looking for you for the past couple of weeks.
Hello, sir.
You said you wanted grammar and English
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
classes, and then you disappeared.
अरे सर वो थोड़ा कभी बिहार बोर्ड भी मतलब बोर्ड भी तो चल रहा है ना क्लास 12 इसलिए।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा। चिल है। ठीक है, फिर अब तुम आओगे रेगुलर, अगर अटेंड करोगे तो नेक्स्ट क्लास से, मतलब संडे को जो इंग्लिश क्लास है उससे
यस
हम
सर, यस सर।
ग्रामर वगैरह स्टार्ट करेंगे, ठीक है?
ओके सर।
टेंशन मत लो, हो जाएगा सब।
हम्म।
और आज का क्लास शुरू करते हैं, ठीक है जी? Yeah, so this is the first passage. तुम लोग, if you want to read it by yourself, then I suggest that you turn the volume off. Otherwise, I will read out the passage and then we'll discuss. Okay. So, President nominated former CJI. CJI means Chief Justice of India. Blank one to Rajya Sabha. This right has been bestowed upon the President according to dash schedule of the Constitution of India. Within 5 months of his retirement as Chief Justice of India, has been nominated to the Rajya Sabha by the government. Former CJI had presided over some of the politically sensitive cases like Assam NRC case, Sabrimala temple entry, Ayodhya, Rafale, etc., in which the government was a party. This raises the question that should judges stop accepting post-retirement jobs offered by the government, at least for a few years after retiring. It is often feared that a judge who is nearing retirement could decide cases in a manner that pleases the government in order to get a favorable post-retirement position. This will be harmful for the independence of judiciary and will deteriorate the public trust in the judiciary. The source for this is The Hindu. And the first question is, which of the following will replace blank one in the passage? Justice T.S. Thakur, Justice Deepak Mishra, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, or Justice J.S. Khear?
रंजन गोगोई।
Ranjan Gogoi sir.
Ranjan Gogoi.
Ranjan
Very
Gogoi.
Mentioned here.
very easy question. Now you are all very happy. But okay, then answer this one. Which of the following will replace blank two in the passage? As in, which schedule of the Constitution of India bestows upon the president the right to nominate certain persons to the Rajya Sabha? Which schedule?
The
फोर्थ फोर्थ शेड्यूल।
Fourth schedule. Okay, correct. अच्छा, fourth schedule is the correct answer. Very good, Shafi. अपना नंबर बढ़ा लो और पॉजिटिव मार्क्स दे देना खुद को क्लैट पैटर्न के हिसाब से, हर सवाल के साथ नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव स्किप वगैरह जो भी वो सब करते रहना। अच्छा, अब तुम लोग ये बताओ हमको, व्हाट इज द सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल अबाउट?
सर ये शेड्यूल है सर, जो फिफ्थ शेड्यूल है ना और जो सिक्स शेड्यूल है, दोनों में बस फर्क है ये कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का फर्क है कि सिक्स में एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन भी है, जो नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट है उनके लिए जो प्रेसिडेंट करते हैं डिसाइड। अभी याद नहीं अच्छे से आ रहा।
फिफ्थ शेड्यूल इज अबाउट द शेड्यूल, मतलब ट्राइबल एरियाज का।
हाँ यस।
एंड सिक्स्थ शेड्यूल इज अबाउट द ऑटोनोमस टेरिटोरियल एंड ऑटोनोमस रीजनल काउंसिल्स, है ना? ऑटोनोमस रीजनल काउंसिल्स व्हिच इज स्पेसिफिकली फॉर हाउ मेनी नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स? अच्छा बताओ, इतना तुमको पता है?
असम, मेघालय, सर असम, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा, मिजोरम।
असम, मेघालय, त्रिपुरा, मिजोरम, बस?
यस सर, 4 ही।
ओके, गुड। व्हाट अबाउट 10th शेड्यूल?
सर 10th शेड्यूल 51st अमेंडमेंट,
anti-defection law.
Anti-defection
law.
yes.
Talks about.
Correct. Chalo, very good guys.
The panchayat, which schedule comes in?
11 73rd अमेंडमेंट एक्ट।
शफी तो भाई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ना तो तुमको लगा है कि मास्टरी करके बैठे हो?
नहीं सर, कभी पढ़ते थे उसको ही, अभी छोड़ दिए सब।
अच्छा, हाउ मेनी मेंबर्स आर नॉमिनेटेड बाय द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया टू द राज्य सभा? 12। चलो, गुड, वेरी गुड। Who was the first Supreme Court judge to have resigned from the Supreme Court to contest presidential elections? ये तुम लोग को नहीं पता होगा.
Sir, Behrul
I
Islam.
think it's D. Yes.
You think it's B? अच्छा.
D, Sir,
Yeah,
Behrul
D,
Islam.
D.
Bahrul Islam.
Bahrul Islam.
Okay. Incorrect, guys.
Then MC Chagla.
Not MC Chagla.
Then
A,
Not A.
then C.
Then C. And what else is left here? Sorry, 1 second. So the answer is, who had said B? Shantanu बोला था ना B? MC Chagla? MC Chagla is the.
No, I didn't say anything.
Acha. Then whoever said MC Chagla, give yourselves plus points. MC Chagla is the correct answer. What about question number 5? Which of the following judges contested elections as a Congress party candidate and got elected to the Rajya Sabha on 15th June 1983 after ending his tenure in Supreme Court on 12th January 1983?
So this is Bahrul Islam.
Yes, this is Bahrul Islam. So read the question before answering, John and Ashank. You were both very excited about Bahrul Islam being the answer to the previous question also. First read the question and then answer. Justice Bahrul Islam is the correct option. So as you can see, this kind of happenings that a Supreme Court judge gets elected to the Rajya Sabha or nominated to the Rajya Sabha pretty soon has been going on for about 40 years now. Okay, next passage. The Union Cabinet approved a 30% cut in the salaries of all members of Parliament and a blank year suspension of the MP Local Area Development Scheme, MP LAD, so that the amount saved can go to the dash to fight COVID-19. He said all MPs, including the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers, would take the salary cut for the financial year 2020-2021. In addition, the cabinet had decided to suspend the funds for 2020-2021 and 2021-22. Addressing a press conference after a cabinet meeting, Mr. Javadekar said the cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, approved an ordinance. There's a font error, sorry. To amend the Salaries, Allowances and Pensions of Members of Parliament Act 1954 to cut the salaries of MPs. President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, as well as all governors, had decided of their own volition to take a 30% salary cut. Article 59 of the Constitution in the second schedule provides for salary and allowances of the President. There needs to be an act passed by the Parliament to determine the salary of the President, but the salary cannot be diminished during his tenure. This provision has been introduced in the Constitution to ensure the independence of the President's office from the government and the Parliament, amended through an ordinance. The scheme is a central scheme formulated by the Government of India under Prime Minister blank in blank that enables the MPs to recommend developmental work in their constituencies with an emphasis on creating durable community assets based on locally felt needs. Initially, this scheme was administered by Ministry of Rural Development, but from 1994, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has been implementing the scheme. Under the scheme, each MP has the choice to suggest to the district collector for works to the tune of rupees blank to be taken up in his or her constituency. The Rajya Sabha members of parliament can recommend works in one or more districts in the state from where he or she has been elected. The nominated members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha may select any one or more districts from any one state in the country for implementation of their choice of work under the scheme. This is also from the Hindu. Now, which of the following will replace this blank one in the passage? Blank one was about, we'll go back to blank one, the Union Cabinet approving a 30% cut in the Member of Parliament salaries and How long a suspension of the MP lad scheme? Come on, guys.
2 years.
2 years.
Oh,
Correct. Very good. You knew this, or did you guess this from these 2 years that have been given? If you guess this from the two financial years that are given, then very good. And if you knew this even before that, then excellent. What more can I want? Okay. What is blank? Uh, what is the second question? Yeah, blank two. What is blank two? So that the amount saved can go to dash to fight COVID-19. So blank one we have not done. Now, what is the percent of salary cut that the MPs are taking?
30%.
30%. Correct. Uh, and what about passage two? Which fund does it go to?
Consolidated Fund of India.
Right, COVID-19. Very good. Where will you find the Consolidated Fund of India mentioned in the Constitution?
So I don't know.
Google. Quickly check.
I think the judges are paid out of that or something.
No. Consolidated Fund of India is the fund that. So there is a divisional pool. Okay. So basically, what happens is whatever tax, whatever money is collected, first of all, it goes to the development divisional pool where the state governments are given some of the money collected right now, and it is under recommendation of the Finance Commission. Right now, it is 42%, but the Finance Commission has recommended to make it 41% for next year because we have one fewer state now and one more union territory because of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. So the union government has to spend more money in taking care of the union territories, and because of fewer states, so the 41% of the divisional pool will go there. And what is the Consolidated Fund of India? It's different. What is special about it? Does anyone have any idea?
Sir,
Right.
main bank account of government.
And it is like it is not the main account, but it is the most important account. Okay, it is the most important account, and the like for most of the like general expenses and revenues of the government, everything goes into consolidated fund, and from there it is sent wherever the government wants to send it. And it is under Article 266 that the Consolidated Fund of India is created. Okay, Article 266. Now, which of the following will replace third? So, the MP lad scheme is a central scheme formulated under which Prime Minister's rule?
So option B. PV Narasimha Rao.
PV Narasimha Rao. Okay. What do others think?
So I think B2.
You think B2?
So I think D.
You think?
D. Because
D.
because the year is mentioned 1994, 1984.
1984, where?
Uh,
1954. This is the
19
pension. This is an act. The salaries, allowances, and pensions of members of Parliament Act. The act under which all their this thing is given. Salaries, allowances, and pensions.
No, sir. Down, please. Scroll down. Yes,
From
sir.
1990,
But
before, so this does not say when it was established, now. But in 1990, since 1994 it was changed, so it can't be 1991. It can't be sorry 1995. It also can't be 2000. Correct?
yes, sir.
Because,
But we are on third one.
because it was established by then only. By then it had been established by 1994. So these two options are incorrect, eliminated. That only leaves you with these two options, A and B, of which you have to choose one. This is the second passage, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, come on, guys. Take a guess. Take a guess. Two guesses only. Two options. 50-50.
I think the fourth one is option B2.
Correct.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. 1993 it was established. Okay. So what is the so under the MP lad scheme, each MP has the choice to suggest to the district collector for works to the tune of how much money to be taken up in their constituency. Your options are 5 crores, 8 crores, 10 crores, or 15 crores.
So 5 crore, 5 crore.
Yeah, 5 crores. 5 crores is correct. Very good. Now, the salt movement led by Gandhi started in blank from Sabarmati Ashram to the coastal village of Dandi. The Salt March is also known as the Dandi March and the Dandi Satyagraha. To produce salt from the sea water in the coastal village, as was the practice of the local populace until British officials introduced taxation on salt production and deemed their sea salt reclamation activities illegal. It was a direct action campaign of tax resistance and non-violent protest against the British salt monopoly under the 1882 British Salt Act. The march followed the Poon Swaraj Declaration of Sovereignty and Self-Rule by the Indian National Congress on blank. The then Viceroy, Third Blank, was hardly perturbed by the threat of a salt protest, and the government did nothing to prevent the salt march from taking place. The salt tax accounted for 8.2% of the British Raj revenue from tax. When Gandhi broke the salt laws, it sparked large-scale acts of civil disobedience against the British Raj salt laws by millions of Indians. Later, Indians were allowed to make salt for domestic use. This year commemorates the fourth blank anniversary of this day. Which of the following will replace blank one in the passage above? So, which year was the Dandi March undertaken?
1940.
1930.
1930.
Acha. Correct, 1930 correct. So, very good, 1930 correct. What happened in 1919? When was the civil
The
disobedience?
Jallianwala
Jallianwala Bagh.
Jallianwala Bagh में था.
13
Correct,
अप्रैल
correct, correct. हाँ, very good, very good. लोहरी के दिन.
हम्म
लोहरी नहीं, बस सॉरी, ये क्या बोलते हैं उसको, बैसाखी.
Baisakhi.
बैसाखी. फिर when was the civil disobedience movement?
1920.
1920. Are you sure?
Or was the non-cooperation movement? I don't remember.
That was a non-cooperation movement. Civil disobedience movement was
Non-cooperation
there
was 1920.
there were
So
three movements.
1932.
1932, civil disobedience movement
Yes,
or
sir.
non-cooperation movement.
So no, it was civil disobedient movement. It was again relaunched in 1932.
And
So I think the
non-cooperation
civil disobedience
movement
movement was started with the Dandi March.
And it started in 1930.
Correct. And what about the other one?
Non-cooperation 1920.
1920. Acha. And what did the non-cooperation movement start with? Like, what was the catalyst for the non-cooperation
The
movement?
Khilafat movement. I mean the dethroning of the Caliph in Turkey.
Yes.
Last
Very
time.
good, very good. So the US and the UK and France, they together threw away the caliphate in Turkey and replaced him with Ataturk. Ataturk was the colonel an army colonel who was their puppet ruler. So the Muslims.
Ataturk is the same guy, no, who converted Hagia Sophia to a mosque.
Yes. Very good. That's what we had discussed in the very first class that we had together. Yeah, very good. So that guy. So what happened? So the Muslims. So in Islam there is this pan-Islam thinking. Okay, so that Muslims, regardless of boundaries, regardless of nations, are united by their faith. So Muslims all around, like you see now also, that whenever something happens that some person angers the Islamic community, then Muslims all around the world stand up in protest. So the Khilafat movement was also a similar thing where uh, this thing happened. So 1 second, yeah. So the caliphate was taken down, and then Muslims all across the world started protesting. So in India also there were two brothers. They started protesting, and Gandhiji thought that, okay, wow, let's go along with them. Let's join the Khilafat movement with the Congress, and then we will get the Muslim support for independent India. So that is why it's happened. And why was the non-cooperation movement? How did the non-cooperation movement end?
So the Chauri Chaura
कोई
incident.
मतलब उसका उल्लंघन कर दिया था, मतलब तेल उल से कुछ जला दिया था शायद, ऐसा कुछ.
Sorry, Chaura incident.
यूपी
हाँ
में
हाँ चौरा.
यूपी में एक छोटा सा टाउन
Police
है
station.
चौरी
हाँ.
चौरा में पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके लोग ये कर दिए थे, जला
पुलिस
दिए थे.
स्टेशन को जला दिए थे.
हाँ, इसीलिए गांधी जी फिर उसको ये कर दिए. उसी से गुस्सा उसके बाद फिर अच्छा वो सब छोड़ो, वो सब इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है, आगे बढ़ते हैं हम लोग. Which of the following will replace number 2 in the passage above? Number 2 is the march followed the Purn Swaraj Declaration of Sovereignty and Self-Rule by the Indian National Congress on blank. पूर्ण स्वराज की मांग कब हुई थी?
26 January.
26 January.
जनवरी 1930. वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. उस दिन हम लोग अपना पहला इंडिपेंडेंस डे भी मनाए थे. 26 जनवरी 1930 में गांधी जी और कांग्रेस के नेतृत्व में हम लोग इंडिपेंडेंस डे मनाए थे. और इसीलिए 26 जनवरी का सिंबॉलिक इंपॉर्टेंस था, इसीलिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को भी अडॉप्ट किया गया था 26 जनवरी को. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन आया था किस दिन? 26 नवंबर. अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे पार हुआ है, और वो एप्लीकेबल है 26 जनवरी 1950 से. बट हियर पूर्ण स्वराज वाज डिमांडेड ऑन 26 जनवरी 1930. अच्छा, who was the viceroy at that time?
Lord Irwin.
Yes,
Lord Irwin.
Yes, sir.
you must have heard of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good, very good. Acha, uh, this year 2020 will mark which anniversary of the Salt March?
See, 90s.
D.
Yeah, correct. Correct. C. How will it be D, bro? 1930 to 2020. It is 90 years. We have answered twice 1930, and then you are saying it. Pay attention, yeah. Like, use your presence of mind. I know you can do this. Don't be in such a hurry. Like, जल्दी करो लेकिन हड़बड़ाओ मत, ठीक है? Now this is an interesting question. But so Pune Pact was signed in Yerwada jail between which two people? Acha, so before you answer this question, tell me first what do you know about the Pune Pact? What was the Pune Pact?
So what's something
So
about
it gave depressed classes, reserved seats in legislative councils.
Right. What was why? Acha. So Pune Pact was an agreement between which two individuals? Like which?
One was B.R. Ambedkar, but
Yeah.
like I'm confused between B and A.
No. This is asking a very specific thing. This question is asking Pune Pact was signed in Yerwada jail between It is not saying.
I think it's Mahatma Gandhi and Madan
I
Mohan
think D,
Malviya.
yes sir, D.
D, sir, D. Mahatma Gandhi and
D.
Subhash Chandra.
No, the correct
I think
answer
it's
is.
C.
Acha. John, you say everything.
Sir, B.R. Ambedkar and Jawaharlal Nehru.
B.R. Ambedkar and Jawaharlal Nehru. No. The correct answer is B.R. Ambedkar and Madan Mohan Malviya. So B.R. Ambedkar was the representative of the depressed classes, and Madan Mohan Malviya was the representative of the Brahmins, Dalits, and the Indian National Congress. Brahmins, sorry, not Dalits. Brahmins, upper castes, other upper castes, and the Indian National Congress. So, Ajad, guys, let's analyze this. Okay, this is a good question. Let's analyze this. So, Pune Pact. Why do you think the Pune Pact was signed by these two parties? By like B.R. Ambedkar, of course, you can see that they got reserved seats out of it. But why would the Congress sign the Pune Pact? Why would they do that? Why would they agree to reserved seats for the depressed classes when they would have had at that time when nationalism was at its peak? Congress would have easily won even if the seats were unreserved. So why did they give some seats to the depressed classes?
Because at that time Gandhi ji was fasting unto death. Maybe, I mean.
That was one of the things that was so Gandhiji used to fast to it was his political move. So like Modi ji says कि हाँ says things like इस ये कर देंगे वो कर देंगे पाकिस्तान चल जाओ ये so similarly fasting unto death was Gandhiji's modus operandi. So whenever someone used to do something and was used to stick to a position which was not agreeable to Mr. Gandhi, Gandhiji would go on a hunger strike. That he used to do. So that's not the main point. The main purpose was, acha, when was the All India Muslim League established? You guys know?
1906
1906 और उसका ये पूना पैक्ट 1930 में हुआ था. उस समय तक Muslim League had started demanding for two states, okay, for two states, one state for Muslims and the other state for everyone else. And they had also started getting a lot of traction amongst the people. Like a lot of the Muslim population was swayed by the Muslim League. So the Congress hierarchy, the Congress leadership was scared because B.R. Ambedkar was a leader of the depressed classes, with what we now call as the scheduled castes, and they were always in more in population than the upper castes, and Congress had a lot of support from the upper caste. So Congress was scared that if B.R. Ambedkar can mobilize the depressed class support, then they would also ask for other states. They would also ask for another country and other things for themselves. And then the Congress's idea of a united independent India would fail. So Gandhiji said, okay, you join with us. You join. He told B.R. Ambedkar, you join us. We will give you some reserved seats. B.R. Ambedkar said, no, you guys have oppressed my people enough already for so many centuries, so we will not do this. So Gandhi said, okay, you will not agree to my demands, then I will go on a hunger strike. So he went on a hunger strike, and Ambedkar had to relent. And so between these two leaders, an agreement was formed. This agreement was made. This agreement is known as the Pune Pact, and it was signed in Yerwada jail between B.R. Ambedkar and Madan Mohan Malviya. Okay, understood. Any questions? Any observations? Conclusions? Confusions? Anything? Okay, wonderful. Let's move ahead. Two NASA astronauts, Robert Behnken and Douglas Hurley, flew aboard a spaceship named Dash, built by SpaceX, a company founded by billionaire entrepreneur Dash, who also had Tesla Motors, which produces new age automobiles. The event generated tremendous excitement around the globe, not because of any special technological achievement, but because of the agency that facilitated the trip, meaning it was the first time that astronauts used a spaceship built and launched by a private company. The rocket Falcon 9, which carried the spaceship into the orbit, was also built by SpaceX. This mission was called Demo 2 as it was a test flight which, if successful, would lead to more missions in the coming months. This event was big in one more aspect, which is that for NASA, this flight was the first flight of its astronauts on an American spaceship launched on American soil after 9 years. NASA used to have a fleet of 5 spaceships under its space shuttle program that were used to make a total of 135 journeys into space and the International Space Station in the 30 years between 1981 to 2011. Two of these were destroyed in accidents, the Challenger in 1986 and Blank 3 in 2003, each resulting in the death of 7 astronauts. After the 2003 accident, in which Kalpana Chawla was among those killed, the US government had decided to close its space shuttle program. The 3 remaining spaceships were formally retired in July 2011, even though they were fit for many more flights. In the meanwhile, NASA hitched rides on spaceships of Russia to travel to the ISS. The SpaceX flight is a culmination of more than decade-long efforts to enable private players to build and operate what essentially is a commercial taxi service to space, and allow NASA to concentrate on deep space exploration and work more vigorously towards other space programs. Involvement of private industry in the space sector is nothing new. There are literally hundreds of private entities building commercial satellites for their clients, including in India. However, launch services, including the building of rockets or launch vehicles to take the satellites into space, is not allowed in India. The International Space Station was launched in 1998 with the collaboration between the United States, Russia, the European Space Agency, Japan, and Blank 4. The ISS is the 9th inhabited space station. The first was Russia's Salyut 1 space station in 1979. Since its completion in 2011, the ISS has had 6 crew members on board at all times. A total of 15 nations work together on a regular basis to schedule launches for supplies, building materials, and crew transportation. The Russian Soyuz shuttles are the only crew transportation craft at the ISS after the space shuttle program came to an end. Here we are talking about the space shuttle program. Okay. Uh, However, the American Dragon spacecraft is used for bulk cargo. 7 different vehicles service the ISS and transport cargo to the ISS. The first part of the ISS was launched in 1998 by the Russian Zarya module, which was also American funded. The first crew arrived on November 2nd, 2000 on board the Russian Soyuz. Since that time, the ISS has been continuously inhabited. There has always been a Soyuz craft at the ISS for emergency crew transport. Over time, new sections were added to the ISS. It was split into the Russian orbital segment and the United States orbital segment. Although the station is split into these sections, it's owned by all participating agencies and nations. The ISS also includes laboratories from participating nations. In 2001, the United States built the Destiny Lab. In 2008, the labs Columbus and Kibo were included from the European Space Agency and Japan, respectively. India's relationship with space dates back to its first rocket launch in 1963. Subsequently, it was the launch of Blank 5, the first Indian scientific satellite. The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved the creation of the InSpace, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center to provide a level playing field for private companies to use Indian air space infrastructure. This is part of reforms aimed at giving a boost to private sector participation in the entire range of space activities. So, before we go on to the questions, you guys tell me first a very small question. Who is the Minister of Space in India?
Narendra Modi.
Yes, very good, John. Narendra Modi is the Minister of Space also. Okay, so what is the name of the SpaceX spaceship on which this launch happened? What is the
Crew
name?
Dragon.
Yes, Crew Dragon.
Dragon.
Very good. Acha, does anyone know, like, it's a very interesting trivia. Does anyone know why the rocket is called Falcon 9?
No, sir.
Has anyone of you watched the Star Wars? Anyone? Star Wars?
Just was the first part, like the 1976 one.
Yeah. So have you seen?
And
So what was the name of Han Solo's spaceship? What was?
so I don't remember. I watched it like 2 years ago.
So like, okay. So in the Star Wars series, the first, like, episode 4, 5, and 6, the first three picked movies, Han Solo's plane was called Millennial Falcon. Okay. And how many letters does the word millennium have? It has 9 letters, which is why this Tesla SpaceX rocket was named Falcon 9 after the Star Wars Han Solo ship. Which of the following, like, who is the promoter of SpaceX?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Great. Acha, which other company is he associated with?
Tesla.
Tesla. And there's another company that he was associated with. He was also the CEO of another billion-dollar company. Okay, I get that you guys are not sure. So he was also, Elon Musk over his time has been involved with 3 very successful companies. The first one was PayPal, which is used for, guys know what PayPal is?
Yes,
Money transfer is used for.
Yeah, money transfer across jurisdictions, like international money transfer using the internet, and not just international, like money transfer using the internet basically. And then the second was Tesla, and the third is SpaceX. Acha, who is Jeff Bezos?
Owner of Amazon.
Owner of Amazon, yes. Who is Richard Branson? He is the owner of Virgin Airlines. Virgin Airlines was the airlines which had inspired Vijay Mallya's dream of Kingfisher. He used to model himself after Richard Branson. They also have similar hairstyles, but very different people. Okay, very different kinds of people also. Who is Paul Allen?
So Microsoft is associated with Microsoft.
Correct. He was the founder of Microsoft along with this other guy. I don't know if you have heard of him, but there's this guy called Bill Gates. So Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft. Okay. So the first, like, in the space shuttle program, 2 of NASA's space shuttles suffered from disaster. Like, they crashed. The first one was the Challenger in 19. Challenger was in 1970. Where is this? Blank 3 now. 1986. And which other space shuttle in 2003, on which an Indian origin astronaut Kalpana Chawla was also traveling?
Colombia.
Colombia, yes, very good. Acha. So now the question is, the ISS, the International Space Station, was launched in 1998 with the collaboration between the United States, Russia, the European Space Agency, Japan, and which other country?
Canada.
Huh?
Canada.
Canada, are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Very good. Now, which was the first Indian scientific satellite? Was it Aryabhatta? Was it Pratham? Was it Kalpana? Or was it Garud?
Aryabhatta.
Aryabhatta. Which year? Never mind, that's not important. I don't. How many have we done today? 1, 2,
Sir, 4 passages.
4 passages we have done today. I had sent you another passage now related to Bodo land. But I like, wait, let me give me 1 second. Do you guys want to do more passages or do you want to do something else now? We have what? 9:20 we have class. Now we have 40 more minutes. So
what else can we do other than passages?
What else do you want to do? I can take like a spot quiz if you want on whatever you want. So let's do some static GK quick quiz, okay? Like a very quick quiz. This will be like a quiz show. But I don't know if we'll be able to do it for 40 minutes. Let's try. Give me 1 minute.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Did you compile the list for the most important topics of October and November?
And I'll tell you right now. Okay. Let's do that only first. Okay, so let's start with November. Note this down, guys. The most important topics of so the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, because it's been in the news related to international affairs. So just like do a basic like write 3-4 sentences on when was it established, what is the purpose, how many member countries are there, and stuff like that. Okay. Then second is farmers protest and the new agricultural laws. Then there's G20 and recent developments. Then there's the Roshni Act of 2001. Like political crisis in Ethiopia, you could do that, but I don't see the point, because if it comes, you can answer questions based on the passage, but otherwise, what's the point of knowing like what happened 6 months ago in Ethiopia, right? Okay. Ramsar Convention, Ramsar Convention is important. Ramsar Convention is important. Then one nation, one election, nothing is happening. So Article 32 and recent developments. Cyclone Nivar is important. Number 2, Cyclone Nivar.
This one nation, one election, it was related to the All India presiding officers that conference. The one nation, one election, it was also related. It's related to the All India presiding that conference of ministers, right?
All presiding.
The presiding officers conference.
That,
so like
yeah. No, not very important. Like it will change. Like as long as one India, one nation, one election doesn't happen, or there's some concrete thing that happens. These discussions, what will you do knowing this? We're not sitting for UPSC, na? If you were sitting for UPSC, then you would have been expected to know such stuff. But you're sitting for CLAT. There's no need to go into all of this. Then ENSO system, northeast monsoon, this will be repeated again. So that is fine. Air pollution and AQI index and stubble burning issue. Yes, this is important. Every November this is discussed. And also air pollution has become a huge issue now. What is air pollution? What is the air quality index? India's decision to ban 23 Chinese apps. Okay, we all know everything about it. Jallikattu is again in the news because of the film. Then there is the North American Free Trade Agreement. No, the RCEP, the region Cooperation and Economic. UP Unlawful Religious Conversion Prohibition Ordinance 2020 and constitutional provisions. Yes, because a lot of governments are also following UP's lead. And I have given you a homework, right? I had given you a homework I had asked which was the first Indian state to make a law on forced religious conversions. Did you guys find out the answer?
Kerala or Odisha?
Kerala or I asked you to find out.
I have read in the newspaper only.
You guys
It's
haven't
not
found
Kerala.
out. So,
I think it's Odisha or Haryana.
I don't know. I think I had asked you to find out. So next class, like if I remember, I'll ask again. But guys, yeah, you should. Then China's dam construction on the Brahmaputra River in Tibet. The United Nations Security Council. Yeah, this is fine only. Like the permanent members. No one will ask you the temporary members. You just have to know whether India is currently a temporary member or not. That's it. H1B visa, yeah. H1B visa because it was stopped by Donald Trump, and then again when Joe Biden is coming, then we are expecting him to bring it back. But how it will work in a post-COVID world, that's also uncertain. So H1B visa, just know the basics. Okay, what's it about? Which kind of people are given this? Then Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Yeah, this also is fine. We know this is chill only. General consent and general consent and Central Bureau of Investigation, because the Kerala government has taken back its general consent to the CBI. Then there is general consent and Central Bureau of Investigation. नवंबर में हुआ था ये. केरला CBI को अपना मतलब अब स्टेट में मतलब CBI. So there was a general consent. CBI is under the central government, but it can go and investigate in any state which has given it a general consent to come and investigate. Kerala took it back because it does not agree with the way the CBI is functioning right now. They think that it is under control of the central government much more than it should be. Then Myanmar general elections, summit, Armenia, Azerbaijan, not important anymore. India's Earth observation satellite, more satellites will come, not important. UK to face Brexit trade disruption. Brexit will also happen, don't worry. All insults not offense under the SCST Act, not important. Paris Agreement, Paris Agreement and the recent developments. Pardoning powers of the governor. And Gilgit-Baltistan, we all know enough from news and all. So November is done. October. Okay, October. Let's just two, three points about all these things. Okay, not a lot. October, there is the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement. Okay. Then there's the Quad Security, and the Quad Security Dialogue is not important. You just know which are the Quad countries and what are the military exercises that they do. Okay. So Quad are the Quad countries. We had discussed that in class once. They are the United States, Australia, Japan, and India. And what was the naval exercise that they did together a few days ago?
Malappuram.
Yes, yes,
Malappuram.
yes, very good. Then conflict of interest between Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh and the judiciary. Do you guys know about this? What had happened? Can someone tell me?
वहाँ पे कुछ मतलब जमीन से रिलेटेड कुछ हुआ था, वहाँ पे नोटिस भेजा गया था आंध्र प्रदेश के सीएम के द्वारा।
अच्छा ठीक है, इस पे 2-3 लाइन बस लिख लेना, क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हुआ है, कौन कौन था कि मेजर प्लेयर्स, क्या इशू हुआ और क्या रिजल्ट हुआ, ठीक है।
So this Nagorno-Karabakh.
Nagorno-Karabakh is again like Armenia, Azerbaijan was important only because it was topical. It's not very important. Nagorno-Karabakh, why will Glad ask you Nagorno? Like they can ask you. No one knows. Like
I mean, they can, like, they asked about like what was Donald Trump's interest, so they can ask the Russia countries.
yeah. Basically, yeah. That's I realized that expecting Clad question setters to be rational is like irrational in itself. So Nagorno-Karabakh, we know, guys. We have discussed it in class also. If you want, we can revise it once. But it's fine. I don't think there's anything more that you can know. Then the Farm Protection Acts, yeah, the Essential Commodities Amendment, the Mulla Periyar Dam, yes, Mulla Periyar Dam is important. Then contempt of court, the Prashant Bhushan case, so basic like which section, what are the punishments and all. Okay. Patents Amendment Rules 2020, not important for you guys. Japan to achieve zero carbon emissions by 2050. The National Security Law on Hong Kong, okay. The Hong Kong National Security Law. This is from October. And then the Financial Action Task Force decided to keep Pakistan on its grey list. This also we have discussed. Next, Kaleshwaram Global Hunger Index, GHI 2020. Then electoral bonds, the Monetary Policy Committee. That's it. So what do you guys want to do now? Tell me. Whether you want me to ask some questions, like random questions and if so, on what topic, and I will do that, and otherwise I will give me like 5 minutes and we can discuss like a couple more passages. What do you want? And there's 6 of you, so come on guys, like we have time, and
So they can also discuss grammar, like if you want. They can discuss grammar
in GK class.
Sir, any static?
Static
का कोई भी ऐसा
स्टैटिक का कोई भी ऐसा स्टैटिक में तुम लोगों से सवाल पूछना। स्टैटिक ऐसे हल्का फुल्का में नहीं होता है, उसके लिए सवाल चाहिए होगा। तुम लोग एक टॉपिक बताओ, what interests you, what you।
सर पेरिस एग्रीमेंट के बारे में बताइए बिगिनिंग से।
पेरिस एग्रीमेंट, पेरिस क्लाइमेट ट्रीटी, ठीक है, एक सेकंड रुक जाओ। पेरिस एग्रीमेंट पे क्वेश्चन हमको मिल जाएगा, और बहुत बढ़िया है, नहीं मिलेगा तो हम भी बता देंगे फिर। क्योटो प्रोटोकॉल के बारे में जानते हो? किसी का बायो था क्या 12th में? बायो में हम लोग को पढ़ाया जाता था, मेरा तो मैथ्स बायो दोनों था, बट ठीक है। पेरिस ट्रीटी, सो पेरिस ट्रीटी 2016 का ट्रीटी है, ठीक है, और इसमें multilateral agreement है, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is not, ऐसे पढ़ाने से क्या ही होगा भाई शफी, इसके बारे में तुमको बताएंगे तुम क्या कर लोगे, फिर तुम भी भूल जाओगे हम भी भूल जाएंगे जब तक हम लोग
So let's do a few more passages.
more passages.
Yes, sir.
Okay, give me 5 minutes then. Give me 5 minutes. Let me
Okay, sir.
send passages on the group. Guess who's back? Back again. So, okay. It has been 5 months and the Baghjan oil well is still burning in the Dash district of Assam. All attempts to douse the fire in the oil field operated by the Dash have proven futile. On many occasions, the fire appeared to have come under control, only to rage again with the same ferocity. Protests against too are still being held in the region but rarely evoke political outrage. Social media, though, has been abuzz with photographs and videos of the raging fire at the Baghjan oil well. Baghjan oil well. The fire has caused massive loss to environment and wildlife, besides causing huge losses to property in the nearby habitation. So, where is the Baghjan oil well located? In Sukia, in Daran, in Kachar, and Bongaigaon.
Option A.
Option A is the correct. It is in Tinsukia. Tinsukia in Assam. What is the name of the oil well? Baghjan. Acha. After After more than 5 months, the Baghjan gas well was doused. Which national park is close to this gas well, which was under a continuous threat of being affected by this fire? Manas National Park, Dibru Saikhowa National Park, Nameri National Park, or Orang National Park?
So option B.
Dibru Saikhowa. B.
Dibru Saikhowa, correct. Very good. Third question. Which of the following is the world's largest civilian transport aircraft which was used to carry equipment for this operation? Albatros L-60, Antonov AN-124, Airbus A380, American Eagle A101.
I think it's the Airbus.
Airbus A300. But bro, we also have now Airbus A380. So are you sure that the A300 is bigger than the A380?
I think it's an Airbus.
Okay. Correct answer is Antonov AN-124. You remember this in the context of the Baghjan oil gas, okay? Antonov AN-124. Now, which company operates this oil field, the Baghjan oil gas field? The Indian Oil Corporation, the Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited, or the ONGC, Oil India Limited, or Bharat Petroleum?
Oil India Limited.
Yes, Oil India Limited. Very good. You guys have read about this news, na?
Yes, sir.
And Shantanu, yes. Evident. Okay, experts from which two countries assisted Oil India Limited in its operations? Singapore and Canada, Japan and France, France and Canada, Japan and Singapore. No clue? The answer is Singapore and Canada. Now, the Abraham Accord. Recently, US brokered an agreement between Israel and Arab nations that has come to be known as the Abraham Accord. It aims at establishing formal relations between the countries. According to the accord, Israel would suspend its plans to annex parts of the occupied dash. Acha, what do you think dash should be, guys? Blank one. Options are answer. Sorry. Let's just read this first. With this, blank 2 will become the first Gulf country to establish diplomatic and economic relations with Israel. Gulf countries are the 7 Arab states which border the Persian Gulf. Namely, doesn't matter. In 1917, during World War I, the British captured Palestine from the Ottoman Empire. Remember, we had discussed this in class. I had told you once this thing. Later, in the Balfour Declaration, Britain pledged establishment of Palestine as a national home for Jews. The British Mandate period saw a rise in immigration of Jews to the Mandate of Palestine. During World War II, the persecution of Jews by Nazi Germany gave momentum to the demands for a state for Jews in Palestine. This led to a conflict between Arabs and Jews, that is the Israel-Palestine conflict and the Arab-Israel wars. Blank 2 becomes the third Arab nation to recognize Israel. In 1947, the United Nations voted to split Palestine between Arabs and Jews. Jewish leadership accepted while Arabs rejected the agreement. Consequently, Arab states of Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria declared war on Israel, and Israel won the war and expanded its territory and reduced Palestine to just Gaza Strip and West Bank. Which Gulf countries have normalized their relations with Israel? Kuwait and the UAE, UAE and Bahrain, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, or Bahrain and Qatar?
Option B.
Option B, which one? UAE and Bahrain?
UAE and Bahrain, yeah.
UAE Bahrain is correct. This also we had discussed. Okay. According to the Abraham Accord, Israel would suspend. Guys, do you have issues with my audio? Hello? 1 second.
No, so you are audible, but like not that much.
Yeah, this wedding season, no matter how many windows and doors you close, firecrackers will disturb you nonetheless. Anyway, so according to the Abraham Accord, Israel would suspend its plans to annex parts of the occupied West Bank, Gaza Strip, Jordan, or Jerusalem.
Jordan.
Okay, what do the others think? John, Shafi, Sachin, Varishtha, Ashank.
Sir, Jordan.
Jordan.
Yes, sir.
I think A.
Okay. See, guys, even if you did not know this answer, you could easily have eliminated two of these options just by reading this passage. Those two options are Jordan and Jerusalem. Because you see here, first, Israel would suspend its plans to annex parts of the occupied and one. Now come here. Arab states of Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria declared war on Israel. Israel won the war, it expanded its territory and reduced Palestine to just Gaza Strip and West Bank. Now options A and B are West Bank and Gaza Strip. So only these two can be the answer, right? From logical deduction, from by just deducing from the passage. So the correct answer is West Bank. So what is Israel doing? So Israel has built a wall. Israel has built a wall to enclose the Palestinian refugee camps. Okay, and it has started settling Israeli people on the West Bank. A lot of Israeli homes have been built. Israeli people are living there, and they have like daily bombings are there from both the Palestinian side as well as the Israeli side on the West Bank. And so, as per the Abraham Accord between the Arab countries and Israel, Israel has promised to stop expanding and settling more of its people in the West Bank. So the answer is A. Now, which was the first Gulf country to establish diplomatic and economic relations with Israel? Was it Kuwait? Was it Bahrain? Was it Qatar? Or was it UAE? Guys, have I lost you?
Yes, sir.
Have I lost you?
No.
Okay. I thought that none of you were responding. So, which was the first country to recognize established economic and diplomatic ties with Israel? The correct answer
I think it was Qatar.
No, it was UAE. UAE was the first. Bahrain was the second.
But there were countries before them, right?
No. The Arab countries, like the first Gulf countries with the Arab Gulf.
Okay.
The seven Arab countries. The first one of
Yes,
it
sir.
is was UAE. Now, this is interesting. Match the country with the capital. What is the capital of Oman? Muscat. What is the capital of Saudi Arabia?
Riyadh.
Or UAE?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. And Qatar?
Doha.
Which sporting event is going to be organized in Qatar?
The FIFA World Cup.
FIFA World Cup. Which year?
2022.
Yes, 2022. Very good. Correct. So, which was the first Arab country to recognize Israel? Which was the first Arab country to recognize Israel?
So I think it's Egypt.
Egypt. Why?
Yeah.
Because I've read it somewhere.
Oh. Yes. I read it here, but it is Egypt. So UAE was the first to, and so okay, this is a question because this Israel-Palestine conflict will keep on going forever. Okay, so this might even be current even till the day of your exam. So it might very well come in the paper. And when it comes, there is this question is one of the prime questions to confuse a student. They can ask you either which was the first Arab country to establish diplomatic and economic ties with Israel, then the answer will be UAE. But when the question is which was the first Arab country to recognize Israel, the answer will be Egypt. Keep this in mind, okay? Under which prime minister did India recognize Israel? The answer is Jawaharlal Nehru. But India has recognized Israel since it was established. But India has always voted for Palestine in the UN. Acha. In exactly a week, another cyclone will brush Tamil Nadu coast or its southernmost tip. This is the third cyclone formed within the last 10 days in the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal put together. The Indian Meteorological Department has warned of heavy rains for Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Okay, the names of the tropical cyclones in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea are not suggested by which of the following countries? Bangladesh, Oman, Yemen, and Malaysia.
Man.
The answer is Malaysia. Arabian Sea mein Oman and Yemen both are there, na? So look at it this way. Malaysia is not in the Bay of Bengal. Malaysia is not in the Arabian Sea. Bangladesh is right next to the Bay of Bengal. Oman and Yemen are next to the Arabian Sea. Like they are connected by the Arabian Sea. But Malaysia is not. Malaysia is in Far East Asia. So the answer is Malaysia. Match the following. One of these, though, two of these you can easily do because they were very recently in news, and the others then you can do very quickly. Where was Nisarg? Where was Nisarg? Come on, guys. It was recently.
Maharashtra.
Maharashtra. Yes. And then where was Gati?
Somalia.
Gati is in Tamil Nadu.
Burevi is in Tamil Nadu and Nivar in Puducherry. Very good. Very good. Beautiful. The recent cyclone Nivar was the third name to be used from the new list of names for North Indian Ocean cyclones released in 2020. Which country suggested the name Nivar? Iran, Myanmar, Pakistan, or Sri Lanka?
Myanmar, sir.
Iran.
The answer is Iran. The recent cyclone Burevi was the name suggested by Burevi was in Tamil Nadu. So Burevi was suggested by which country in accordance with the guidelines of the World Meteorological Organization?
So Maldives.
Maldives, correct. Tropical storms are formed at ocean temperatures of over. This is from the Geography Class 10 textbook. You don't know? Okay. The answer is 26 degrees Celsius. There has to be temperatures with the tropical storms don't form below that temperature, 26 degrees Celsius. This should be EL. Okay. Next passage. And the last one. The world's loneliest elephant, brand for the name, has reached which country on a flight, which place on a flight all the way from Islamabad, and will now spend his days at which wildlife sanctuary in the country's northwest. Animal experts began the task of airlifting the elephant name on November 29 in a crate made especially for him. His departure from Pakistan marks the end of a campaign led by local activists and American singer and actress Cher, who has been campaigning for the elephant's freedom since 2016. She is the co-founder of the NGO Free the Wild that has played an important role in insert animal names relocation. According to animal welfare organization Four Paws, the Asian elephant, his name, lived in the Marghazar Zoo in Islamabad for nearly 30 years, where his only companion Saheli died in 2012. Again, his name came to the country as a gift from Sri Lanka in 1985 when he was 1 year old and shared his enclosure with Saheli when she came to the zoo in 1990. After her death, he was reported to be listless and even started showing signs of mental illness. He is also Pakistan's last Asian elephant, and with his departure, the zoo where he was housed for over 3 decades will close. The zoo has repeatedly made headlines for its poor conditions. In July this year, 2 lions died as a result of smoke inhalation after a fire in their enclosure. In recent years, over 500 animals have been reported missing from the zoo, and over 2 dozen animals have died over the last 4 years. This is from the Indian Express. What is the name of the world's loneliest elephant?
So option D, Kavan.
Yes, correct. Kavan is the correct answer. Where was he relocated to from Islamabad? Cambodia, Malaysia,
Cambodia.
Thailand. Cambodia, correct. In July 2020, hundreds of elephants had died mysteriously in which country? It is now being claimed that toxins in water by cyanobacteria was the reason behind these deaths. Angola, South Africa, Botswana, Mozambique.
So Botswana.
Yes. Very good. In June 2020, in which national park an elephant's death flagged a hate campaign? Allegedly, the young elephant ate a pineapple filled with firecrackers that exploded in its mouth. The elephant eventually died standing in a river, prompting shock and anger across the nation over this cruelty. The Silent Valley National Park, where did this happen? The Pampadum Shola National Park, Eraviculam National Park, or the Pin Valley National Park?
It's A or C. I don't.
Option C.
Option A is correct. It was Silent Valley National Park. Where is the Silent Valley National Park?
It's
Kerala.
in Kerala.
Yes. Has any one of you been to Kerala?
So I live in Kerala.
You live in Kerala. Great.
Yes, sir.
I am going there on the 22nd till the 29th. I'm going on a Kerala tour.
Oh. So
Heard
do you
it's
know anybody here?
what?
Do you have any relatives here or something?
I don't have relatives. Like I'm traveling with my family, but I have college friends over there, so I'll probably meet them if I get time. But yeah, basically I just want to like relax, get massages, and just like eat a lot of seafood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyway, where is the Okavango Delta? In which country? Cambodia, Angola, Botswana, or Malaysia?
Sir, Angola.
Botswana. You see, there only in that delta only cyanobacteria probably release toxins in the water where hundreds of elephants had died. So remember this. This happened in the Okavango Delta in Botswana. And the last question: elephants, rhinoceros, tapir, and hippopotamus are called dash for their peculiar thick skin. Xanthoderm, Eutheroderm, Pachyderm, Placoderm.
Pachyderm.
Others, what do you think? Pachyderm is the correct answer. Very good. Very well done. We'll continue with this worksheet in the next class. and I'm so happy that we have done. How many have we done today? Has anyone keep count? 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. 8. Oh, wow. 8 passages we have done. Great work, guys. Great work. Great work. I was so unprepared for this level of efficiency from you guys. But yeah, it's good, keeping me on my toes. So yeah, let's end here tonight, and let's meet for English on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. And also, Shafi, I hope you attend Saturday's class, because we are going to start discussing the basics of the English language and grammar. Okay. Chalo guys.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
See you